everyone, welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shibani Gharat. India's ADEX is expected to grow by 7% in 2025, taking the overall ad revenue to 1,64,137 crore with an increment of 10,730 crore compared to 2024, says GroupM India in its annual This Year, Next Year report. The 2025 growth will be led by digital, which is pegged to grow at 11.5%. OOH and cinema advertising are expected to grow by 8% and 10% respectively. Print ADEX will grow at a mere 4%. GroupM predicted that TV ad revenue would decline by 1%. So 2025 will also see the digital share rising by 60% of the overall ADEX. To tell us more about the key trends, we are joined in by Prasanth Kumar, CEO GroupM South Asia. PK, welcome to CNBC-TV18.
Thank you, Shibani.
Indian advertising will grow at a modest 7% this year. It's the most modest estimate that GroupM has come up with in the past many years since COVID, actually. So tell us more.
Great. I think you're right. Post-pandemic, I think the space of growth is obviously relatively modest from that context. But at the same time, we see it as more optimistic and progressive growth. Because when I look at growth of every single respective media, each of them are respectively growing better than the global respective media growth, right? Of course, the only factor is that in India, we estimate this to be a 60% on digital, whereas globally it is 80% digital.
On digital,
right?
Yeah.
If I look at the kind of categories which are there, right, in the top 10 or top 15 categories, I think a good 60% of the categories are growing at 10%, right, vis-a-vis the 7% growth, and rest are growing at 3%, right. And some of the categories which are growing well are categories like real estate, telco, technology, and so on. And we are estimating the FMCG category to be a little placed down, closer to 3% and things like that.
And what are some of the top trends that you are spotting that will shape advertising in the year 2025? Of course, globally, there are a lot of conversations on how agentic AI is going to shape the advertising business. So tell us more, how are you seeing those changes, within your agencies?
So yes, so technology is going to play a very large role, right? It is going to help in enabling better insights about our consumer understanding, right? And any better insights is also going to help us in understanding using data perspective. And there again, we also put the perspective of data privacy and how is that going to be a part of the entire game in the marketing framework for many, all clients, right, from that context. So that again, how are we using that? And therefore, how are we using that to target the consumers? All of that essentially will play. In this, we also estimated, or we also put that how the measurement framework will actually be more integrated, right? From the data coming from traditional kind of looking at from GroupM, and how is that getting evolved to the data that you have, from the consumer aspect, and how are you able to read it through, and therefore technology helping, and again AI helping in that form, and looking at from a full funnel perspective, right? So that again is something which is seen. I also see commerce as a big, large space. There is already an expanded commerce. You also have quick commerce playing in a larger form, right? I also feel technology actually indulging in the AR, VR aspect specific to content, and therefore engagement with consumers actually getting revolutionized and transformed, right? That's again another aspect. CTV is another aspect where we are seeing a larger enabler to the overall TV, linear TV aspect, and helping linear TV also to, to see a source of growth from there.
And how do you see these entire market fluctuations, the overall market volatility, like the whole economic turbulence in the domestic economy and also the global markets impacting some of the media strategies and advertising spends this year?
Yeah, so again, a very interesting point. If you look at the previous year, I think it has got a lot of aspects which you just mentioned, which has got played the previous year. The geopolitical aspects, as well as a lot of global perspective, war, so on and on. How is it impact? Obviously, it impacts on the prices. So there is an inflation aspect which is coming through. While we do have a trend of disinflation, which is there globally, per se. But there are categories where the inflation has played a larger perspective, like food. Domestic, we look at food inflation has gone up, from that context. This starts playing raw material inflation, prices have gone up, when it comes to clients from that context. So these play a role in the expenditure, form, and therefore you may end up, taking control on cost, right? We see there is a nuance of that, which can play into the
overall advertising. Yeah.
But also, and if we say that, we may not comprehend the entire market, because what we've seen is also that there is a long tail perspective for India, which is actually growing in a good form, right? And to many digital players, which is almost 60% of the market today, a good portion, almost as high as 50% is coming from there. And there is a story of growth, there is a story of aspect that is going on, which makes it even tougher for the large clients. So this will go on for some time, right? It is also a period, and we're talking about 25, which is the third year from 22, which is 2 years after pandemic, where we really saw the advertising market growing by 18% and so on, right?
Correct.
So the base just went up. If you look at the CAGR of last 5 years, around 11%, right? The base just went up.
Sure.
And that's including 25, for instance, right? So base going up, still not, I don't think in 25 is, we've still not seen the entire startup money coming back, which actually, after 22 it slowed down. But we're estimating that in second half there is a chance that it may start slowly coming back.
Okay.
Right? So that uncertainty aspect, we are estimating in second half with a lot of money in consumer hands. The tax aspect which you mentioned. A bit of normalcy setting into, some of the categories.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Nipun Marya, the CEO of IQOO, a brand that has made significant strides in the Indian smartphone market in just last 5 years, joining us on the other side. Today we have with us Nipun Marya, the CEO of IQOO, a brand that has made significant strides in the Indian smartphone market. As we navigate through a rapidly evolving tech landscape, IQOO has positioned itself as a key player, particularly by targeting the younger, the tech-savvy generation. We are here today to discuss the current state of the Indian smartphone market, IQOO's vision for the future, and how are they driving innovation to cater to the needs of the youth. Nipun, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Nipun, 5 years this February since IQOO was first launched. Tell us, what have been the key milestones of this 5-year journey? That too, just ahead of the pandemic when the world started shutting down.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Not the best of times to start a brand, but I think so far it's been great. We've had excellent response for our products, for the brand, the way the brand is shaping up, the kind of numbers that we are seeing growing, the fan following that the brand is accumulating while we are still on the stages of brand development. I think these are very encouraging signs. Brands are not built in just a few years. It takes time. We truly believe that in the long term, IQOO, with the path we are on, IQOO will do well.
Yeah, and Rome was not built in the day, as you just rightly mentioned, but ours is also a very complex and a very, very competitive smartphone market. So how did you, thrive through, the competition, and, what made you stand out over the past couple of years, especially at a time when the segment that IQOO operates in and that you guys operate in is one of the most competitive, the budget, the mid-budget category?
Yeah, see, it's all about, if you look at the whole market, what we saw was the industry was driving a particular narrative. And we found out
which was?
Which, to some extent was very heavy camera driven narrative. A lot of innovation was happening in the space of camera. But we felt there are so many people who also want other features, maybe which are beyond camera. Camera is important for everybody today, right? But it's not the single most important feature for a lot of consumers. Does not mean camera is not important, but it means that these people look for something else also, which when we found out, we found that, performance in a smartphone, and performance can mean multiple things for multiple people. It can mean very, very good battery performance, including fast charging capabilities. It means, processing capabilities of the phone, which means, heavy tasks like video editing to gaming to, multiple other things that you can talk about. To displays, right? There are multiple things apart from a camera, smartphone, which one looks into while buying a phone, and the needs also vary. You cannot just cut all the consumers into just a single piece. So we found out that there is an audience which will look at performance first as a category of smartphones. And we thought IQOO is very well positioned to cater to these consumers.
And how did you build all of this entire brand narrative? What were some of, the things that you did right, according to you, Nipun?
When, we looked back and we saw that, the Gen Z of today, how they are evolving, they are shaping, they're quite different from the thought of, the millennials. The Gen Z today, they really believe that they can achieve anything. Anything is possible when it comes to, their big dreams. So we thought, this whole thing of questing is very central and very true to what they believe in and what they want to achieve. And hence the name iQuest On and On or IQOO. That's how, the name came into being. And we truly believe that smartphone is today a technology, a piece of technology, which really transforms your life and your productivity and multiple other aspects of what you do on a day-to-day basis. So this is the belief part, which is iQuest On and On. The other part was the functional promise that we deliver. And that is about when you use an IQOO smartphone, what you're getting is the best in performance, the best in innovation, which the industry can offer. Most recent example is the IQOO 13 that we launched recently. Right, it has the latest Qualcomm Snapdragon chipset. We were the first in India to launch, and there have been multiple firsts that we have done in the Indian smartphone industry, purely because we've stayed true to these two things. One is questing, the other is the best of performance and innovation.
Yeah, and so Gen Z is your core consumer, as you mentioned. How are you reaching out to these guys? What are some of the mediums that you're communicating with?
If I have to single out one big reason for IQOO's success, I think it will be co-creation with the Gen Z. It's also reflected in our community work that we have done. Recently, we announced we are 2 million strong in our community now. And this community also we've been building in the last 2.5 years, where every time we go back to them, co-create products with them, co-create multiple other things which we can talk about.
How do you foresee the consumer need and demand shifting going forward, and what is IQOO doing in that direction with so much of hybrid AI and on-device AI being discussed extensively at global forums?
So, see, when it comes to the consumers, if you look at the larger Indian smartphone ecosystem and the smartphone industry, what you will see is a lot of people it's now a replacement market than a first-time user market. Because of which 5 years back, 8 years back, maybe for a lot of people, it was their first smartphone. That's not the case anymore. Today, people are much more aware, more knowledgeable, and they know exactly what they want in their phone and what they don't want in their phone. Hence, our consumers are much more aware about the technologies they want in their phone. And therefore, I feel it makes our job easier and tougher at the same time. Easier because I know I have to give the right product, the right technology, and they're aware about, yes, this is the phone for me. Tougher because they're also more demanding now. But if you can satisfy this demanding consumer, then you can have a good run in this industry.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Rajdeep Kumar Gupta, Managing Director of Route Mobile, along with Gautam Badalia, their CEO, joining us in a special chat. Welcome back. Route Mobile, which is a major player in CPaaS in India, has now become a part of the Proximus Group, a provider of digital services and communication solutions operating in Belgium and several other international markets. With this merger with Proximus Group, Route Mobile is also entering several mature markets like USA and Europe and is also expanding its product portfolio. There was also a management structure change within Route Mobile in December, after which Kumar Gupta became the managing director of the company and Gautam Badalia was appointed as its chief executive officer. In a joint conversation, both Gupta and Badalia revealed how they will now focus on leveraging Proximus Global's reach and product offerings to accelerate growth for Route Mobile and the group at large going forward. Listen in. Rajdeep and Gautam, welcome to CNBC TV18. Tell us more, as you make these significant strides globally, what are some of the strategies that have really helped you over the past couple of months?
So I think our strategy is very simple, like how to engage our customer to start looking out for other product offering, what we bring as a group. So when we as a Route Mobile used to go to a customer, like we always talk about messaging and omni-channel, and we didn't have much of discussion on telco side of the product or security side of the product. Now when we go to the customer, I think we're talking about the entire bucket of solution, like these are the solutions which we have. And I think customer are looking out a single vendor policies, right? They want one single vendor who can provide multiple solutions. And I think that is one exciting thing for me, like, and for the salespeople also. And that is exactly where we need to look at ourselves. And also, I think the domestic market growth story of Route Mobile. If you see, Route Mobile has penetrated in Middle East market very well. We've done a fantastic in the Asia market. We did brilliant in Latin market as well. And I think that is a learning what I want to make sure wherever there is a presence of BICS and Telesign, we really need to penetrate in the local market, because local banking, local e-commerce companies are having huge potential.
And what are the opportunities, Gautam, that you see in the India market? We know that our market holds immense potential, but with this rapidly evolving digital landscape that we've seen in the country, what are some of the opportunities that you see?
Yeah, so I think if you look at, the post-COVID phase, right, where digital acceleration really powered on, we were the first ones to be the backbone for the entire UPI infrastructure, right? And now with this AI wave coming through, we believe, I think a lot of opportunities will evolve, wherein you will have hyper-personalized interactions, and just to taking cues from what Rajdeep was talking about, the connect, engage and protect platform. That's what BICS, Telesign and Route Mobile is. So we have today the most integrated and most comprehensive product offering, right from the infrastructure layer to the digital wrapper which is there on every digital transaction. A few days back, RBI governor was on the forum, and he was talking about digital frauds being a big nuisance value in the digital ecosystem. And today we have an all-encompassing kind of a play. And as we speak, we are doing sandbox testing with a few, with RBI, with a few banks and with a few telcos. So, we believe, I think we will be able to render a very comprehensive, secured, which will bring in elements of trust when you are doing a digital transaction.
Yeah, you spoke about digital frauds. On that note, Rajdeep, digital fraud is a growing concern, not just in India, but globally as well. So what are some of the innovations and steps that you guys are introducing, to combat some of these frauds that are happening on a day-to-day basis as fraudsters are getting smarter with each passing day?
Digital adoption all across the globe is going multifold. At the same time, I always keep on mentioning the digital fraud will also grow together, And I think to overcome these kind of challenges, I think we as a company are now looking out for a telco API solutions, where we will directly work with operator API for authentication. Can there be OTP in next 2 years down the line to authenticate? Maybe not. There might be an option where I can directly authenticate my user based on the telco operator API as a seamless authentication. So we are working very closely with some of the large brands to launch. We might launch one of the products in MWC, which is mainly focused on telco APIs, how to do a seamless authentication without a OTP. So I think these are some of the innovation as we as a group working on, and we might announce this in MWC. I might not share more detail about that, but very soon you will come to know that. But yes, the world is changing, the way they want to authenticate user, because there are many frauds are happening because of OTP also. But again, OTP is definitely going to be there. It's not that I'm talking about OTP is going to be redundant, but as a market scenario, there are many companies looking out for a seamless authentication model. And we as a company already working on that side.
Working on the solution for that. Gautam, you also mentioned about UPI, and you're one of the largest provider for WhatsApp-based ticketing, including many metros in the country, in the Indian cities as well. So tell us more, how do you come up with some of these, like ticketing solutions, and what is it like to work with some of these government agencies and public service providers?
Most enterprises today are looking at giving that omni-channel experience and thereby make it more and more personalized so that they could yield them better ROIs, right? And no other platform than the conversational AI platforms like WhatsApps and RCSs of the world, where you are able to give an user a 360-degree experience, right? From when you kind of get into, you buy a ticket for the metro, you scan it, you get access to the metro network, you are able to do the payments there itself. So everything is kind of stitched into one platform. So I would kind of face this as a, so what internet boom was in 2000s, this is the mobile boom, which is powered by conversational AI, your LLM models, where you are able to do more contextual and more personalized engagements. Coming to your point on the government services side, I think we have powered a few 911 services for some of the state governments, where in case of certain calamities, in cases of certain alarms that you need to kind of disseminate, you have powered everything over a WhatsApp bot. So these are the use cases, which are only evolving. The newer use cases are coming through, and that's where, we believe we have a massive TAM to kind of unravel.
Rajdeep, with AI and, a lot of talk around agentic AI, there is also conversation on how personalization for, like the digital communication is going to increase over the next few months. So with this rise and with the rise of all of these digital platforms, what are consumer expectations and how are they evolving? What is your insight and understanding on that?
So I think we interact with our customer very closely, and I think there are definitely customer experience is a key for me. Like, I think people are talking about AI in a big way, but I think AI is everything based on the data, right? What kind of data set you have and what kind of data set we have for our customer. Can I use my customer data to give a better experience to the same customer? Suppose if I'm serving a bank and we have the data of the same customer, can I use the same data to give a better experience of the existing customer through AI? That's exactly what the customers are looking out. So customers are not very fuzzy about AI. AI is a big boom right now, it's fine, but customers really want to see value out of that AI thing. And I think that we as a company are probably looking out that as an option where can I get a consent from a customer to use his own data for his own experience, right? And I think that is where we see some customers are coming forward and they want to get into this AI value chain.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Shibani.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, X and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.